the power that words have. And the power that words have go beyond just what we say. When we speak a word, that word, right? There is a sound wave that carries the message and impacts the receiver or the person who is hearing the word or words being spoken. You see, when the receiver hears the words or the word, the meaning of the words crystallizes their perception, or it shapes their reality. You see, that shape of our beliefs um, drive our behavior and ultimately creates our world. This is why you have the power and the ability to create your reality. This is why the words you speak have such power. When we read, speak, or hear certain words, we have an emotional response to those words. Because as we've talked about before, when we're looking at the mind and how symbolism and things of that nature affect your mind, the different levels of your mind, because you have three particular brains and they function differently, they respond differently, right? So your emotional response, the brain responsible for that emotional response, is affected a certain way. And also when we, take for example, if I say the word, if I yell out the word fire, and I say that in a crowded space, then there's going to be a very chaotic reaction to me saying that particular word because of what that implies. It crystallizes a certain perception of reality. Now, let's say I'm talking to a creator, someone who's creating something, and they are showing me their work, and I say that's fire. That's a different implication. That's a different use of the word. And upon the recipient hearing that word, they're going to have a positive response to the way that I'm using it in that context. So there's so much more emphasis and so much more thought should go into the words that we say, when and how we say them, you know? And there's so much more that we are going to get into to further break down sound waves, the creation of reality through sound. This is where all of this whole entire discussion is going to be about, how words create reality, because in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. And there's a very strong emphasis on that. There's a reason why that particular Bible verse, why that particular thing stands out to most Christians, why most Christians know that particular Bible verse. Because of the levels of wisdom embedded in it. And we're going to discuss a lot of that. We're going to discuss a lot of that today. Now, let me move along here. All right. Now, words can uplift or destroy. The words you use affect your own energy. Just as much as it affects others, it also affects your own energy. And this is a very important lesson for those with a 3 in their life path and the power that they convey with their words. And not only that, in understanding how you are able to combat the self-doubt that constantly arises with most 3s, because it's asking you to visit your communication with spirit, which is asking you to visit your thoughts, because your thoughts are your conversations with spirit. This is how you talk to God. This is how you talk to the creator. via your thoughts. So when people say the universe never says no, it's because every thought that you are thinking is what is creating your reality. And more oftentimes, we put far more emphasis on those negative thoughts than we do on positive ones, therefore leading us to create more of those experiences that creates that negative emotion that we actually don't want to experience. You see, and it's not just for people with a 3 in their life path, but it is very important lesson for you to learn, and you will learn it. You will learn it, but this implies for everyone. When you have an issue, what are the words that you say? How do you speak about it? When you have an issue, do you call it a problem? Could you imagine if you no longer had any problems in your life because you simply no longer use the word problem? Maybe they're not problems. Maybe they are simply opportunities for you to rise to the occasion. Think about it this way just think about it, because your words are what crystallize or creates your reality. So if you are using words like I am stressed, I am so tired, not to mention the power behind the particular words I am, which when you use the words I am, you are taking on the power of the Lord. Anything that you add unto the words I am will be added unto you. So when you say, I am stressed, I am tired, I am sick, this is what you are continuing to add to yourself. This is what you are asking to be added to your experience. So you have to revisit the language that you use, the words that you choose. Your discernment starts there. Your discernment starts with the words that you are using, because your word is what becomes flesh. It's the power of the word. So always remember that when you are talking about your problems or highlighting your problems or all the things that is wrong, you are bringing more of it into your life, because your words are shaping your perception or your reality. Now, when we're looking at words, right? Words are catalysts to which thoughts express themselves. Okay? Words invoke corresponding thoughts and continue to tap into the thought matrices in your mind. So, as a magician, as one who is intentionally creating what they want to create, as a magician, you have to realize that your words are invoking thoughts to correspond with those words. It is tapping into your thought matrices. And matrix is just really a system or structure. So the structure of your thoughts are being created with the words that you use. Your words become the authority of your thoughts. Your word is directing your reality. So when people say negative things repeatedly and those things come to pass, and when you sometimes hear people say that they spoke that into existence, it's because of the power of the tongue and the word. Because when I say the power of the tongue, what I'm referencing is the word. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. It's the power of the Word. So when it comes to the law of vibration, regarding the power of words, the law of vibration emphasizes that words carry their own vibrational energy. Therefore, they can impact our thoughts, our emotions, ultimately shaping our reality. So when you understand the law of vibration, you understand the power of the tongue scientifically. Positive and uplifting words have a higher vibrational frequency. They promote harmony, growth, and well-being. Conversely, negative or harmful words can lower the vibrational frequency, potentially leading to discord or negativity. Thus, the law of vibration reminds us to choose our words carefully, as they can have a very profound impact on ourselves and others. So when you know the law of vibration, you innately understand the power of your words. This is why I highly emphasize studying the Hermetic principles. In studying the Hermetic principles, you understand every spiritual foundation that there is. That's why you study those Hermetic principles. So this is why you have mentioning of the power of your words, the power of the tongue in the holy books. Because as I've mentioned so many times before, they all come from the same spiritual understandings. Most of Europe got everything they got out of Kemet. Kemet is not the only source. It's our most complete source that we mostly have. I won't say mostly, that we have somewhat intact. But most of everything in Europe came out of Kemet. And if you don't know, Kemet is ancient Egypt. The Hermetic principles or the laws of Tahuti. We're talking about Thoth, the teachings of Thoth, the teachings of Tahuti, or as the Greeks say, Hermes, Trismegistus. So I'm making this connection so that you understand where the Western world got this from. All of this comes from the ancient world. They don't want you to know that. So I'm making those connections to show how it's all interconnected. Even in Buddhist teachings, Buddhism highlights the importance of right speech, one of the components of the Noble Eightfold Path. The teachings urge individuals to use words that are truthful, kind, beneficial, non-harming, because it emphasizes the understanding that words have the power to shape one's reality and to impact others. In Hinduism, the concept of Shabda Brahman emphasizes the divine power of sound and words. It is believed that the universe originated from the primal sound that chanting or reciting of the sacred sounds and mantras can create positive vibrations and spiritual transformations. This is all the law of vibration. And we're going to continue so we can bring all of these things together so that you can see how everything that we've been talking about, along with, how just everything is interconnected and is pushing you to evolve your consciousness. This is why a lot of us emphasize the spell is in the language, the spell is in the words. And that's because of the words having certain connotations that are culturally given. So we have a certain perception of certain types of words in certain types of contexts, as I've stated many times. There's a reason that you have black magic and white magic. There's a reason for that. And it's not because one is good and one is bad. It's because of trying to create a certain perception around around blackness. Because when you get into the occult, when you study the occult, black is venerated, black is powerful. So that has been flipped in today's society, and everything about black is deemed negative, derogatory. That's not by coincidence. That's done purposely. That is done purposely. Okay. So the thing about Kemet, and I just removed myself for just a brief second here. But the thing about Kemet, right? The thing about Kemet is that magic was fundamental to human life in ancient Kemet. It was an integral part in healing rituals, using spells and in sacred texts. So the vibrations released through the exact pronunciation of certain words parallel the vibrations of a given substance existence. So there's a reason your native tongue was taken from you. Certain words that channel certain intelligence within you is wrapped up in those words, in those symbols of what makes up those words. The pronunciation, being able to pronounce things a certain way, using your vocal cords in a certain way. This vibrates when you speak, right? Your whole body, there's a whole process that goes on within your body that allows you to speak, that creates your unique voice. This is the power of vibration. This is the law of vibration. So pronunciation of certain words, saying certain things in a particular order with a certain pronunciation or use of, certain organs, internal organs and things that we are no longer as capable of using, or that we don't particularly know the use of them, or we may speculate, or we may not be quite sure why. See, there may be a connection to that, to our ancient ways of being, the ancient words we used to use, the things that we used to be capable of doing that we may have lost a connection to. Like, take for example your appendix, right? Things of that nature. Now, it's very important. This is very important that you understand this, because this is why it's also necessary that you emphasize for people to say your name correctly, because your name isn't a coincidence. You see, cultures use names to capture the essence of the soul. So when it comes to your name, it's like on some Marlowe shit. My name is my name. I am that I am. Your name carries a certain frequency, a very particular frequency. It's like a phone number. You know your mother's phone number. If you dial that number, that's your mother's number. It's not anybody else's number, at least it's not supposed to be. So it's the same thing. There's a certain particular frequency for every word that we use, and that's including your name. So when you do numerology, when you learn the frequency, the power behind your name, the frequency in your life path, in your destiny number, in your soul number, in your essence number, things of that nature, this is revealing certain things about you, because you are not given a name that you are not supposed to have. Even if it feels like, your parents didn't have any type of spiritual understanding, doesn't really matter. There's spirit guides, there's spirit all around us all the time, influencing our thoughts, influencing us in so many ways. And we can think that these are our original thoughts, and sometimes they are not. And when it comes to the naming of the name, or the naming of a child, that also rings true. You have ancestors within your blood, that's within your being,